the December 19th, 2016 regular meeting of the Beavercreek Township, last regular meeting of the 2016 year order. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the agenda, any changes, deletions, additions? No?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the December 21st, 2016 payroll in the amount of $272,031.47.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the bills in an amount not to exceed $256,500.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
Motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting held December 5th, 2016.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes. Sign them. It's time we open the meeting to anyone who would like to, speak to us. Seeing none, we have old business, none on the agenda, new business. This is the time of year we're going to be reorganizing for the 2017 year, as there are no changes in the board occurring this year, for next year.
Start out, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Mr. Kretz as Chair of the Board of Trustees for 2017.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes. I'm going to turn the gavel over to Mr. Roberts, and I will make a motion to appoint Mr. Roberts as Vice Chair of the Board for 2017.
Second.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
Make a motion to appoint Ms. Graff as the MVRPC representative for 2017.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
Make a motion to appoint Mr. Kretz as the MVRPC alternate for 2017.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
Make a motion to appoint Mr. Ed Amrine as the TAC representative for 2017.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
Make a motion to appoint our Township Administrator, Public Safety Director, Alex Zahariath, as our TAC alternate for 2017.
Second? I will turn the chair over, gavel over again.
Hold on, let me
Hold on,
call her.
make the call.
Mr. Roberts. Ms. Graf.
Yes.
No.
I move to appoint Mr. Roberts as the representative of Beavercreek Township to Greene County Regional Planning and Coordinating Commission.
Second.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes. Make a motion to appoint Mr. Kretz as the Regional Planning Coordinating Commission of Greene County alternate for 2017.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
Make a motion to appoint Ms. Graff as the Health Department District Advisory Council representative for 2017.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
Make a motion to appoint our Township Administrator, Public Safety Director, Alex Zahariath, as the Township Representative to the School Superintendent and City Manager meetings for 2017.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve Township Administrator and Public Safety Director Alex Zahariath as the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base Restoration Advisory Board Representative for 2017.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
And finally, make a motion to approve our membership in the Miami Valley Military Affairs Association for 2017 for the 4 elected officials and for the Township Administrator.
Second?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes. Okay, Rosamund, did you want to propose the, Mr. Zahariath,
Yeah.
Coalition of the Large Ohio Urban Townships?
Yes, I do.
Initiative, which is a new, would be a new one for us, I hope.
We used to be a member of the Clout organization, and we were absent for several years. I'm recommending that we become a member again. Membership requires a resolution to be turned in. The yearly fees are $200 a year to be a part of the Clout organization.
And that's a sub-organization under the Ohio Township Association.
And that's correct. And they have quarterly meetings and throughout the state and the districts.
And what's the advantage of joining that?
Well, this is a sub-lobbying group, and we vote on agendas every year, which will be at the Ohio Township Association conference at the end of January of 2017. These are issues that really affect townships that are our size. And we put forward some agenda items for changes. For example, some that are related to annexation, budget, concerns with when we're dealing with budgets, our size as well. So,
I think we need, do we have to sign on the door saying it's open meeting?
yes.
Okay. Someone peeked in and didn't. Okay. Do I have a motion, a resolution to that effect? You want to vote?
We do. Make the following, offer the following resolution for approval. Whereas the Board of Trustees, Beavercreek Township, Greene County, State of Ohio, move for approval of the following. Whereas a coalition of large Ohio urban townships, herein to be known as CLOUT, provides input and practical solutions to the Ohio Township Association on problems and issues affecting large and/or urban townships in Ohio. And whereas Beavercreek Township, Greene County, State of Ohio is eligible for membership in CLOUT with a population of 5,000 or more in the unincorporated area, or with a budget of at least $3 million. And whereas the Board of Trustees by this resolution certify that Beavercreek Township is a member of CLOUT.
Second.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Now therefore be it resolved, Board of Trustees, Beavercreek Township, Greene County, Ohio, favorably pass the above resolution.
Mrs. Harriet.
Thank you, Ward. First item was is the identity statement for Beavercreek Township. This was presented at your last meeting, and there was recommendations on changes. The changes have been made and incorporated. There are slight other changes that the professor for the students made, and actually she also recommended the same changes that the board made as well. I did attend Wednesday night their presentation to the class, and they did a very good job. It's a very detailed report. It's close to 100 pages, so I'll share that with the board once I get a final version of it. What you will be approving today is the identity statement, which includes our mission, our vision, who we serve, what we do, and how we do it, and our competitive advantages. And if you have a motion on page 11 of your packet.
I like the way it reads now. Thank you for making those modifications.
Yep.
So that being said, I'll make a motion to approve the Beavercreek Township Government Identity Statement as presented.
Second.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Thank you, board. Next item is on page 12 of your packet of a motion here. We had some discussion at the budget meetings and had a meeting with the sheriff as well as his command staff. And we talked about extending the contract at its current rate for 6 months. Just one modification to the motion. The prosecutor's office prepared an agreement between the board and the sheriff. It has your names on there, so on the motion, just drop and authorize the township administrator to sign for the board. I have 2 copies here, one for the fiscal office for the files and one for the sheriff's office. So I will sign both of them after passing the motion.
Okay, so I make a motion to extend the current Greene County Law Enforcement Patrol Services Agreement approved 12/21/2015 for 6 months.
Second.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Thank you, board. Next item is on page 13 is the bi-weekly report, followed by the monthly report, followed by the year-to-date report. Are there any questions?
we can, Christie has to sign both of them and then give them back to you.
I think Ms. Fred has to sign as well, I believe. Was it? Okay, maybe it was just for the prosecutor.
Okay, so we'll get this.
She is on it.
Oh, is she?
There it is. Oh, okay.
I did notice, in our year-to-date numbers, there's a lot of checks and things that are down. I'm assuming that's as related to the increase in the other areas we focused on.
Well, that's some of it, but they also, because they're, training to put more deputies on the road, not so much for Beavercreek Township, but for the rest of the county. We had one position move over to, the rest of the county to do training, so we have been down a deputy, for that time as we're training more deputies, and we'll finally get our numbers back. Although, we're gonna stay down a deputy for the current manning level that we're currently at for the first part of 17.
And that's reflected in the
Yeah.
bill and,
Yeah. So, what you're seeing is probably why you've decreased a little bit in 16, is we had less house checks, less, business checks, because we had one less deputy patrolling, so.
That was my only comment.
Thank you, board.
guess we got to human resources.
Yes, thank you, board. Next item was on page 40. This was also discussed at the budget meetings as well. As you recall, in 15, we raised our zoning fees to cover some sort of reorganization in the zoning department, as well as a part-time staff. And in 15 and the 16th budget, also in 17's budget, have a part-time position for the road department as well. Motion on page 40 will allow us to go ahead and advertise for those two positions based on the compensation plan that's already been approved, and we'll bring it back hopefully on the 9th with potentially two positions.
With the zoning fees, I think we did not only the department, but because we were bringing in line with other jurisdictions.
Correct, and we're not the high, we're right in the middle in regards to those fees as well, so. The one part-time position will be under the road superintendent, under the road fund. The other part-time position will be under zoning, management of the zoning administrator, but it would also be available for the fiscal office, myself, and HR for needs and important things.
Right, any other discussion? I'll make a motion to approve the HR manager to advertise the two part-time clerk positions in accordance with the compensation plan for non-union employees.
Second,
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Grant.
yes.
Thank you, board. On page 41 is the Human Resource Department biweekly report. I'd just like to point out one thing on page 42. Last meeting, you read a letter from Xenia Township, essentially a thank you letter from the administrator in Xenia Township for the work that HR manager did for contract negotiations. We looked at that amount that he had in the letter, and it was incorrect. So in your packet, page 42, is the correct amount that we billed Xenia Township, and that's $8,753.84.
Which they pay.
Yes, which they paid, yes.
And it's still working on the personnel policies.
That's correct, and that's just make sure that the new contract they negotiated also matches their policy manual or handbook or whatever they call it in Xenia Township.
And all that. Do you have any feel that will that be finished before the end of the year?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for that. I'll give you an
I
answer.
guess we were hoping it would be, but
Yes.
it may not.
I may have to.
Like carry over. So,
Thank you, board. Next item is on page 43 of your packet, is the zoning biweekly report. I will tell you, as of when this report was completed, we did tie 2015 numbers at 96 new homes. Of course,
Two.
permits are up a little bit as well.
Two more today.
And then two more came in today, so
So
we'll.
still hope to crack that.
we have another couple of weeks here.
Another couple of weeks yet.
Are there any questions?
All right, so
No.
looks like we've been busy. The fees are coming in significantly higher. And then the difference in the fees that we charge for our various
So,
applications have made a significant difference.
And on your chart, it shows the 2015 and 2016 fees are the same. Is that
That,
a typo or?
that number, that chart that showed, that's the 110,000
Yeah.
you're looking at, that is, additional revenue, property tax revenue generated to the township from new home construction, and since the two numbers were identical, 96 homes, then that's why the
Okay.
one
And
for
you're appraising
2016
our
will go
homes
up
to the same
next
amount,
time.
Like 350,000 per home,
Yeah,
same as
it's-
last year.
Right,
So,
it'll go up approximately $2,000 next time.
And these are estimates, so
Right.
we don't see the true collection for almost
2 years.
2 years after they build the house. So these, so 15, so 14, 15, and 16 are truly estimates based on Mr. Amran's work with the county auditor, that's coming up with a formula so we can provide this information to you.
A couple of important assumptions there, mainly the value of the average value, property value of the new homes.
I think at one point you were doing 250, and now you made 350.
We started at 300,000 and raised it to 350 based on data that we got from the county earlier this year.
At one point in time, and I can't tell you exactly which jurisdiction I was with at the time, but from the building department, they gave us a chart saying how many applications came in, how much for commercial and how much for residential for the
Mhm.
jurisdiction. Do you know if the building department does that?
Yes, so the number that we shared last year and why we made this adjustment, the $435 million in valuation was actually based on those figures from the building department. And then for commercial last year, 10 million?
I wanna say 7, but it's
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, so obviously we led the county in new home valuation. The next highest was 70 million, and that was the city of Beavercreek.
So it would be nice to maybe have charts with those kinds of things, just so we know what our benchmarks are and how the township itself is growing. As long as we have the information anyway, visually, it's nice to have in front of us. I used to like to see it every year, so I had a feel for it. I don't know if Mr. Roberts
No,
would like it, but I
We can
Still
definitely-
put it out.
Mr. Crest would
We,
like it.
we know that for 2014, was it? Or 15? Out of the total value placed on residential construction dollars in Greene County during the year was $502 million, and 435 of it was in Beavercreek Township. So, I mean, a vast majority of residential construction. We weren't at the top of the list in terms of commercial, but we were third. I mean, we were close to the top, so. And with the stuff that we're looking at over our own horizons for the next couple of years, I think the commercial or other non-residential construction dollars are gonna rise significantly in Beavercreek Township.
Yeah, those numbers I find important. Number one is how much we contribute to the
Oh,
county.
yes.
How much of that is contributed to the township inside millage money, because that's going up each time significantly. What percentage it is as we are going through and discussing these variety of things at different meetings we attend. And I think having those statistics at our fingertips would be extremely
Okay.
valuable at any point.
I can get you that chart from last year. I'll include it in the next report. Those numbers raise eyebrows everywhere we share them.
Was that at the county annual, whatever, upgrade of what they did?
We saw them before the event, but we can definitely have that, and then in the 2016 annual report for zoning, we can get those numbers from the building department. We won't have the valuation, they'll work on that, but we can at least have the number of how many commercial and permits as well as new home built. When we know the new home, but yeah, we'll know on commercial as well.
that the building department knows how much they take in permits. I think the permits are based on the value that the people are saying they're doing.
Yeah,
Give
it's
you some
actually
figure in
based,
there.
they base ours, and that's, we were a little educated when we saw the $435 million. That's based on square footage, and that's not necessarily
Okay.
what the auditor is going to assess. Now, if it's a completely finished home,
Then they-
from basement to regular living, yes, then they'll be fully assessed on taxes as well. Yeah.
Well, very good. Thank you. I appreciate these numbers. I think they're valuable for us to have. And I like the way the charts have now equal that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Next item is on page 47 is the Information Technology Department biweekly report. Are there any questions?
Is everything working? You just need, is everything working? The voicemail, the telephones?
Yes,
the-
everything's operational.
Very good.
Thank you, Board. Next item is on page 50 and is a purchase request for road salt. Purchase request here and budget justification as well as motion is on page 50 of your packet.
Have you used quite a bit of our stock?
To date, we've used 158 tons of salt.
And how many did you have in, you had
We were probably-
158 you used, and how much was in the salt barn?
We were probably sitting on about 400 tons to start the year.
Okay, so we started with 400, so we went down, not quite half yet.
Well, yeah, we've used over half of what we ordered the first go around.
Okay. And it's just not even the end of December.
That is correct. And it can stop anytime.
We'd appreciate it.
And by the way, the
We're gonna
crew,
stock,
the crews did an
I'll
excellent
pass
job
that
over the
on.
weekend. As I was driving around the community on Saturday morning, between the structure fire and other things I had to do in other communities, I would say that Beavercreek Township was definitely, did a great job, and our roads were definitely well attended.
and those of us who went out Saturday night, we don't like to drive it in, anyway, found the roads all well clear and not a problem. The rain was a problem. So this amount of salt should fill up our barn again, and we just as soon leave it there for the whole winter if at all possible.
I would prefer to, let's put it that way.
Make a motion to approve purchase request 08286 to Compass Minerals for 300 tons of salt in the amount of $17,600 and authorize the township administrator to sign for the board.
I'll second that, and I just want to, we do not have to take it all at one time
No, this is just to open a purchase order
for the.
since we don't meet for another 3 weeks. I mean,
And
we've
whatever
burned
the-
through,
And you can request delivery.
right, as needed.
I think the only thing I read in the documentation was that if you have requested a delivery and you don't take it, you pay for the delivery anyway. But you won't ask for a delivery unless you need it.
That is correct.
Okay.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Board. And the next item is related to it, and that is the purchase of beet heat, and there's a motion
Yes,
on
I read
page
more about
50.
wheat heat than I
Yeah.
really wanted to know.
Yeah, it's amazing how they keep changing and modifying and, you know, beet juice is now beet heat, you know, chemical compositions. So did I'm assuming that all the rain kind of washed all our treatment away Saturday?
Yes, well, residual was there, but it bought us a little time into that Saturday morning run, or 2 runs,
Mm-hmm.
because the temperature wouldn't come up fast. Well, the temperature came up, but the road temperature was still down, so.
Any
Motion is
questions?
No.
Make a motion to approve purchase request 8287 to K-Tech for up to 4,600 gallons of beet heat in the amount of
Should be 6,200, or
$6,210, and to authorize the township administrator to sign for the board.
Second.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Ms. Graf.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. On page 69 is the road department's bi-weekly report. Are there any questions?
What page?
Page 69.
Thank you for the tabulation of the salt bids.
Oh, not a problem.
Okay.
69.
No, they showed me right to go that fast.
So your chart with the salt tons used, we are significantly under this year to date?
Well, this was as of Thursday afternoon.
Oh.
2015-16 for the entire year,
That was for the entire year.
For the entire year, right.
and this is 2016-17 is for year to date as of Thursday.
Right, which, since Thursday, it has changed to 158 tons of salt, 1,095 gallons of beat heat, 44 hours of regular time, 55.5 overtime, 31.5 double time, and a total cost of $16,363.51.
Come on, spring.
You got it.
There any other questions?
I said 50% is what it was for the total last year.
Thank you, board. On page 70 is the fire department agenda, and the first item is to request to modify the authorized staffing. I have a resolution here as well. Chief is here to answer any questions.
This is what we discussed and approved.
Yes, ma'am. This is the results of the standards to cover document that provided the board, and we discussed the recommendations that were made in it. All of these items are included in the 2017 budget request for the fire department, so they're funded. So with your approval, this will allow us to move forward at the 9th meeting for the promotions as we've previously discussed.
And this does, when we talk about the budget, it covers the salaries or projected salaries or possible salaries for the entire year, for all these offices, positions, as we are going to approve.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then, I'll offer the following resolution for approval. Whereas the Board of Trustees of Beavercreek Township, Greene County, Ohio, met at a duly called and authorized meeting of the Board of Trustees of Beavercreek Township on the date set forth above, such meeting being duly pursuant to the notice stating time, place, and purpose of the meeting received by all Beavercreek Township Board members, and the following resolution was made, seconded, and adopted by those present. Whereas Ohio Revised Code 505.38A requires the Board of Township Trustees in each township with the fire department to provide for the employment of firefighters as it considers best, and whereas in the interest of providing the best service to the citizens and guests of Beavercreek Township, the fire chief recommends modifying the currently authorized staffing level for the fire department. Those modifications being as follows: full-time employees, 1 fire chief, 2 deputy chiefs, 2 battalion chiefs, 3 captains, 9 lieutenants, 51 firefighters. Those are sworn employees. Civilian employees full-time, 1 fire marshal, 1 prevention specialist, 2 support staff, and finally 1 part-time employee, civilian employee, 1 inspector.
Second,
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
yes.
Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Beavercreek Township Trustees hereby adopt the recommended staffing levels, and further be it resolved that these staffing levels will remain in effect unless modified by further resolution of this board.
Thank you,
We
board.
set up for January 9th at 4 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
And it'll be on the regular agenda, and we'll just take a break at the end of the meeting, depending on, I would assume, since we're not meeting for another 3 weeks, it'll be a lengthy meeting, so that's just an assumption. I don't know if that's going to be the case. But if we get done early, we'll just take a break until and reconvene for the meeting, for the promotions.
Knock down a wall for all the people living here.
Potentially.
It might be a little crowded, but that's
That
okay.
would be good. It would be nice to see the crowd.
hold it up in the bay, get the heaters going.
We could do that.
Next item is on page 71, begins the bi-weekly incident activity report for the fire department. Are there any questions?
We should really have some sort of a proclamation of appreciation for Mrs. Regano to come up with at some point. Would that be appropriate at our fire awards dinner and invite her?
Well, certainly, yes.
Yeah, I think that would be the most appropriate place.
Well, she has been doing this dinners probably since 2001, right after
I think
2002.
2002 was her first year, yes, as the media, school
When
year
her-
was.
yeah, when her class that she was teaching, I think it was second, I forget what grade she took, started working with both the New York City Fire Department and our fire department, thanks for the 9/11 response as firefighters. And so she has, from what I gather, provided the dinner through her class, and since she's retired, has done it by herself with some help from people who said they wanted to deal with
Yes,
it
ma'am.
too. And I think that would be, appropriate. To have something available for her and invite, both she and her husband to the dinner.
Certainly, we can do that. We'll have something for the board on the 9th then. That's, I believe
Okay.
that's the last
We'll be
meeting
happy to
before the
sign it.
banquet.
Even at the last minute, we will sign it.
Okay,
Thank you, board.
thank you.
That's all I have. Just a reminder that, starting in the next meeting, which will be January 9th, starts the new meeting schedule, which is the 2nd and 4th of each month.
I haven't changed my phone.
Thank you, board.
Legal advisor?
Nothing at this time?
Ms. Aaron's.
Two resolutions. The first one is to ask the county auditor for our advances. It's just what we do at the beginning of the year, so we take care of that.
And we have to do it every year. No?
Offer the following resolution for approval, whereas the Board of Trustees of Beavercreek Township are in favor of Christy L. Ahrens as the elected fiscal officer of Beavercreek Township in Greene County, Ohio, requesting from the Greene County Auditor an advance of payment of the current collection of taxes assessed and collected for and on behalf of Beavercreek Township for the ensuing settlements in calendar year 2017 as provided by law, and whereas the Board of Trustees of Beavercreek Township do hereby authorize Ms. Ahrens request those advance draws for calendar year 2017 from the Greene County Auditor.
Second.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees of Beavercreek Township does hereby favorably approve the above request for tax advancements from the Greene County Auditor for the calendar year 2017.
Thank you.
I think you have one more.
Yep, and then the second one is to remove money for
All right, offer this final resolution for approval, whereas to reappropriate from account 2192-930-930-5999 contingency fire fund to account 2192-220-190-5112 salaries and wages in the amount of $412,000. And whereas to reappropriate from account 2192-930-930-5999 contingency fire fund to account 2192-220-213-5112 Medicare in the amount of $8,770. And whereas to reappropriate from account 2192-930-930-5999 contingencies fire fund to account 2192-220-215-5112 OPNF in the amount of $16,500
Second.
with discussion. We are good for next year, Chief, right? This doesn't change our projection. Our projections are good, and everything that we've just passed and approved for the staffing levels, we are good with your budget documents and funding for the following year.
Yes, sir. This is simply an appropriation adjustment. Our cash balances are plenty high enough to cover all of the expenses that we've projected out. So this is simply making sure the money's in the appropriate place to be legally spent.
But this is for this year.
Yes.
I think the question we have is next year sufficiently funded in the individual account line items so that we won't be doing this modification at the end of next year?
We believe so, but appropriations and reappropriations are a pretty common thing. So if we get to the end of the year, we need to make some adjustments. I can't say that we won't, but we're projecting to get it as close as possible so that we have to do as few of these as possible.
Because this is significant, this is more than a single payroll,
Yes, sir.
so that, minor adjustments here and there is fine, but
Yeah.
the whole.
We're still trying to track down exactly where the discrepancy was. So that's, we were surprised by this as well.
But we have sufficient funds.
But we
and
have
the fire
sufficient
fund
funds
without a
moving
problem.
forward
Yes.
for next year.
Yes, sir. All of the cash balances, so all of the budget projections that we've been working on have been based off of actual expenditures and not off of appropriations amounts. Appropriations is a legal mechanism for this spending, but all of the budgetary projections that I've done for you for the 10-year has been based off of the actual cash balance as opposed to what the appropriation items
Gotcha.
were.
Okay, that was my only question.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
So,
Go ahead.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
yes.
Anything else, Ms. Harris?
No, I think that's it, thank you.
That being said, Cheryl, executive,
Yes.
make a motion to go to executive session under Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G1 to consider the employment, dismissal, and compensation of a public employee. Also under ORC Section 121.22G3, conferences with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are subject of pending or imminent court action.
Second,
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
yes.
Move to come out of executive session at 2:35.
Second.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
Need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Grant?
yes.